Hello and welcome to Lesson 3, Learning PHP Syntax. Today we're going to be learning the basic syntax of PHP and stuff such as the opening tags, commenting, stuff like that. So first of all, let's create our PHP file. Actually, this would be 3. And let's open it up in our code editor. Welcome to Lesson 4, Variables. Hello and welcome. In today's video we are going to be learning about operators. Operators are used to change values of variables, and they are used for comparing variables. Let's get started with some basic arithmetic operators. The first one we're going to learn is the basic adding and subtracting. We have these two variables, x and y, and adding is very simple. It's just our first variable plus our second variable. Oops. We can see that this outputs 10 because 5 plus 5 is 10. We could also subtract. Which is 0, because 5 minus 5 is 0. We can go on and on, but there's also multiplication and division remainder. It's called modulus. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. There's also increment and decrement. Increment is basically plus 1. Just like that. It's the same as doing plus 1. Now let's look at some assignment operators. These are used in if-else. If x is equal, or actually, this is wrong. Assignment operators changes the value of a variable. So x equals y, that means x will, or z will equal y. Now we can also do plus equals, which is where it takes this and adds this to it. So it's basically z equals z plus y. We also can use subtract equals. That works too. We can also do multiplication equals, division, and division remainder. Now comparison operators. These are the ones that are used in if-else. If x is equal to y, echo equal. These two equal signs are for comparison. It does not turn x into y. It compares the two. It will return true if this is equal to that, but it will return false if it's not. We can also have an exclamation point, which an exclamation stands for not. So it's basically not equal to. So if x is not equal to y, then display they are not equal. Just like that. We also have is not. This also works as is not equal. This is greater than, less than, is greater than or equal to, or is less than or equal to. All of these comparison operators are fairly simple, and you could pretty much mix and match them as you go. Now we have some logical operators, which is where we can do, if we want to say compare two things, or not two things, if we want to do two comparisons in one if, we can do it just like this. And z is equal to 5. We'll just make it to 4. This makes sure that both of these have to be true in order to continue. We also have these two lines. I just call them the lines, don't know their real name, but the two lines right above your enter, you have to hold shift to use them. They are OR. So if either this or this are equal, that or are true, then it will display our message. And that's pretty much it for operators. Of course, like I said before, you can mix and match some of them. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we will be learning about PHP if-else statements. If-else, there are a few forms of it. They are all very basic. Here we go. Now the first type is one line. It's if, the basic, if, and then we do our comparison here. And this is assuming you have viewed the last lesson, operators, which tells you the basic operators of if-else. If y is equal to x, echo, they are equal. This is all one line, very simple. Save. F5, and you'll see that they are equal. Now that's basic. Now let's learn if-else. We can also just press enter, and we'll have this one line. Else. Just like that. And we will see that it says that they are equal. However, if we change a value, it will turn into they are not equal, because x and y are not the same variables. Now if you want more lines, all you need to do is insert one of those little curly brackets, and then give one for else. Just like that. We can also do if or else if, which is where else if, we could basically have another if here. And then else will be if all else fails. So if this fails and then this fails, then else will be run. Let's make y not equal z, but well, x, then let's get equal z. There we go. Y is equal to z. That's because our first if returned a false, because y is not equal to z. Hello, this is another PHP tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how to use the switch cool. Switch is an alternative to if, and it's very useful. Normally, if you wanted to check if I were 5 or 6 or 7, you would do something like if I equals 5. And then you would repeat this over and over. But that can be a little bit confusing and long, so there's switch. Basically switch our variable, then our opening curly brackets. And inside here we have what are called case. Case is you basically just say case and then what the variable might be, and then you give what would happen if the variable is that. So case 5 echo I is 5. And then to stop from running after that, once we're done with the code for 5, we break. And then we do case something like 6. We can say echo I is 6. Also, if you want to check if it's nothing, it would be default. We can also do string variables, such as case string and we can also do true or false. Switch is pretty much a very good alternative if you have a long list of variables that you need to check for. Another alternative to using the curly brackets is just to have this switch, and then once you're done, and switch. I don't really like that, but it's just another way. That's basically all there is to switch. It's very easy, and it's a very good alternative. Yeah. Hello, it's me again with another tutorial. In this one, we're going to be learning about PHP arrays. Arrays are useful for storing data or variables and making it really small and really easy to access them. Let's take a look at an array. This is a basic array. Now, basically how an array works is how you use it is you have your array, and you insert one of these brackets. You insert the key to the value that you want to access, and you close that, and that will return the value. Arrays are sort of hard to explain. Basically, it's like this. You have an array, and it's basically a variable that stores a bunch of variables. I'm just going to explain this really simple, but basically you designate like an ID or whatever you want to call it, and you give that ID a value. You can do this over and over, so you can have something like an array where you have an ID of username, an ID of password, an ID of email, and therefore later on when you want to access it, you can do something like info email, and it will pull up the value you assigned for that email value or email variable. So you can change stuff like this and then our variable. Like, we can also do stuff like strings, x equals 5, whatever we want to have it. And of course we can just echo everything out. We can echo out whatever we want. And that would echo out 5, because we assigned 5 right there, and we echoed out 5, the variable. To delete a variable, all you have to do is unset our, and then our variable name, or we could just do the whole array. That is pretty much it for arrays. Basically, when you declare the variable, you just have to do array, and then our ID. When we do this equals then or greater than sign, which sort of looks like an arrow, and then the value of that ID. So yeah, arrays are very simple. I use them all the time. They're very good, very neat. It's perfect. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome again. In this tutorial, we are going to be learning about while loops. While loops basically repeat the same function over and over until the variable you're checking for changes. Let's take a look at one, shall we? Let's create a int called I with a value of 0. Let's do while I is less than 5. We will run this script. We'll echo out I and a new line, and then we'll increase I. Now basically what this means is while I is less than 5, then we will run this script. And basically once it hits this, it will basically go back up to here and run it. But since we also have this little I++ here, it will increase our I plus 1. So then after about 5 runs of this, it will stop, because I will no longer be less than 5. Let's run it. And we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because 0 counts as 5. And basically that is all. One quick warning though, do not put yourself into an infinite loop. While true, something like this, where a value always returns true, will run forever. Let's take a look at that. And it will keep on printing while it's loading. This page will never be done loading. Yeah, that's bad, because our script is still executing. Oh my. We'll just stop that. Okay. That's pretty much all for while. Just a quick little tip: if you're like waiting for something like some other function or to change a variable, and there's a chance that the variable change could fail due to some sort of database connection, whatever you're trying to change, I would recommend using I instead of checking for the variable. So I mean, like have it like a number of attempts to check for the variable before it times out, or yeah, you create sort of a little fake timeout script, and so then you don't end up running forever because you are waiting on your function to update a variable, but yet it really won't be updating the variable because it failed the first time. So yeah, that's pretty much all it is for whiles. Hope to see you next time. Hello again, I am here to teach you the for PHP. For is basically like a while loop, only it's much more simple. Let's take a look at one. It starts out like a while loop. You do for, except for it works like this. You declare your variable, you see if the variable is equal to something, or less than, or more than, or more and equals, whatever. And then you do an action every time for is run. So basically, a while loop will have to have a variable out here, and then we'll have to say that variable equals this, and then we'll have to, this part would be in the while loop, and then down here you would have this part. But instead of wasting those 3 lines, or the extra 2 lines, we can use our for, which puts it all into one little line. Hello again. In this tutorial we are going to be learning about functions. Functions are essential if you are doing a repetitive task over and over. Basically what it is you can assign some script to a function and then call a function anywhere in your code, so then it basically runs all that script using only one line. Okay, this is how you make a function. All you have to do is type function. Our function name, we'll just call it f, and wrap it up like that. Just like that. Okay. Now, inside of our function, we can do anything. We can do anything we can do outside of it. We can echo, we can die, we can access our MySQL database. We can basically do anything. And we run it by calling f right there. Save our changes. F5. Hello and welcome again. I'm here with another tutorial in PHP. In today's tutorial we are going to be learning about Windows Forms, or not Windows Forms, sorry. We're going to be learning about forms, basic HTML forms. Now, let's get started. This is actually going to be part 1 of 3 videos on Windows Forms. The first one's going to be the basic HTML layout, the second one's going to be using Git, and the third is going to be using Post. Let's start out by creating our HTML form. I'm not going to write up the whole HTML, I'm just going to write up the part for our form. Okay, form. This basically opens up our form. It's the HTML tag for form. We need this, by the way. Action. This is where all of our variables are going to be sent. In this case, we are going to send it to forms.php, our same exact file. So we could just have it be forms.php, or yeah, we'll just do forms.php. And let's close it down here. And let's have some text. And then input. Input is basically where whatever the user interface or uses. It could be a radio box, a drop-down box, a text box, anything like that. But in this case, we're using input type equals text, which is a text box. And we also need to give it a name. This is what I call the ID, which is basically what we will be looking for in our PHP. It's like the variable name of it. Name will equal name. Yeah, name. Then let's have a little submit button where input type equals submit. Hello and welcome to part 2 of forms. Right now we are going to be using Git to retrieve our variables. So before we show our form here, since we're sending the variables to our same file where the form is, we are going to have to check for the variables to see if the form has been submitted before. We do this by just choosing a random variable and we retrieve it. Git works like this. You open it like any normal variable, but you do $_ get, and it's basically like an array. If you've seen the array tutorials, open up your brackets, choose the name of the variable you're trying to access, which is in this case name. We need to assign this to a variable. Name equals get name. Perfect. And here's a little tool or function. If is set name. Basically this checks if name has been assigned before. If it has, then it means that our user has submitted the form, therefore assigning a name to name. Now I don't want this form to display twice, so I'm going to use a die. And from die we can echo out stuff like a little error message, but in this case I'm just going to use it to say hello. just like that. Name will equal Sean, and then it'll say hello Sean. That is all for the get tutorial. See the post tutorial to learn how you can securitize your forms more. Hello and welcome back. We were just now learning about get. Now we are learning about post. Post basically makes it much more secure for your site. Normally, the normal method for form to send the variables is over the URL. I'll add this little question mark, our URL, or our variable, and then the variable's value. Now, of course, this can be easily modified. So if you're sending precious information or stuff that you don't want accessed by the user, then you would use post. See, it now says hello Haxers. Now, we use post by doing this. Under our form tags, we do method equals post. This basically turns it into a post. And basically we switch get to post. That is all there is to it. Personally, I use post for just about everything. And I mean everything. Get is sort of useless now. You can see that this little thing doesn't do anything now because we're not checking for it. We're not using it. Now we can do something like Sean, submit, and you can see that it still has the same result, but our user cannot access it in the URL. Now, one tool built into stuff like Chrome and Opera is the inspector element. Now, this is a tool that basically lets you modify the current information of the page. Like I can right-click, inspect element, and I could change this live. Oops. Just like that. So I'm able to change the name of this to something random. Therefore, when I submit, even if I put some text in there, it won't show up because we are looking for the wrong thing. Some people create a hidden value. Here's a hidden value. Input type equals hidden. Name equals hide, value equals secret info. Now we don't want the user to be accessing this secret information, but of course it's right out in the open because of our inspect element. On the secret info is you have been hacked. That's bad. One way to battle this is to only allow the variables that you assign. So that means if you have something called like do, which is what you want your script to do, such as register or login, then only allow the variables register or login. Otherwise, completely ignore it. Don't use it, unset it, stuff like that. That is all. Thanks for watching. Forms is amazing. That's all.